Hey, everybody on the Pro Forum. So I know y'all get so tired of seeing me in my car that there are times when I'm not in my car. You know, believe it or not. So I decided, hey, let's do something a little different. Maybe at the house. So I got it. Thank you, Brad, again. You know, here we go. Fuji X Pro 2. Big shout out to Robert at Dory's. Took real good care of me. I know he'll take good care of you too. Got the 18 to 135 zoom lens, which is a little, you know, I love the range, you know, which is around 28 millimeters to 224 somewhere. I don't know. You're supposed to take whatever number and multiply it by 1.5, and that tells you, you know, in regular 35 millimeter range what you know it is. But bottom line is, this wide angle is pretty good telephoto. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of odd. You know, I'm just figured I'd hit the negatives first. It's little, you know. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, look how big this thing is compared to my head, compared to my hand. I mean, this thing is little. When you get really, really used to like a Canon 1DX, you know, this thing feels like nothing in my hands. However, I did do some tests, and whew, so far, just crazy amazing at the ability for this thing just to shoot straight up JPEGs. So I have it right now set up to where raw files go to card 1 and converted JPEGs based on your settings go to card 2. So what happens, and what I'm learning about the way the Fuji system works, is everything, the native ISO is 200. So everything, no matter what you do, no matter what ISO you choose, everything is shot at ISO 200. But because it's a mirrorless system and because of the type of chip, Fuji can take that, add a little noise, add a little artifacting, add a little this, and thus, in essence, increase the sensitivity of the chip through post-processing. And that, according to what I'm reading, is what happens when you change the ISO, say, from 200 to 400. You increase a little bit of noise, not much, minor. And as a result, what it appears, you picked up like an extra f-stop. It's really cool. You know, and you can go all the way natively on the dial to like ISO 128, no, excuse me, 12,800 on the dial. And then you can pick up an extra f-stop if you set it internally to 56,000 something, which I don't know. I mean, why you want to shoot that high anyway? But it does get really, really grainy when you get way into these high areas. But I guess if you have a choice, if you're trying to make a decision between, you know, shooting the image or not shooting the image, hey, shoot the image. So what? So it's got some grain. But I don't know. Like I said, it's a really cool system. It is taking me longer than I anticipated. I'm so used to the Canon system, the menus, the way it works, the way it thinks, you know, all these kinds of things. It's taking me a little while to kind of get used to it, but I'm getting the hang of it. I bought a little book, a little ebook, and I'm reading about all the ins and outs. It's something, let's see, it's called the 100 or 101, 102, 112, something secrets or tips or questions or something like that is the name of the book. Just do a search for the name X Pro 2, you know, in ebooks, and you'll find it. Does, you know, it's really cool. But that book has been really, really helpful with understanding and using this crazy camera. But a sharpness, that's another thing. Unbelievable. I did some images in the studio, and craziness. I mean, it's just crazy that this little bitty old tiny, it looks like a toy. It don't even look like a real camera. But this toy shoots such high quality images. It's amazing. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is Fuji's, two things I'm going to talk about is, first of all, Fuji's internal RAW converter, to where, you know, you shoot it and you go, you're out in the field and you say, I wonder what that would look like with that type of black and white raw conversion. Well, you can do that with an internal raw converter and convert from your raw files to usable JPEGs inside the camera. You follow what I'm saying? That's just crazy talk. And you can use, they have a bunch of different preset film looks. Boom, choose this type of slide looking film or a really low contrast film or whatever, and boop, hit the go button and it processes out a JPEG ready to use. Dump it on your to the customer or whatever the case may be. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was the uncanny, without any correction or without any adjustment, I shot a Macbeth color card. Took a meter reading on the card and got it perfectly set to the specific f-stop. Set that f-stop on the camera, click, and what came up on the back of the camera was identical to what I was looking at. So I pulled the raw file, I pulled the JPEG, put both of them, opened them in Photoshop, and in both circumstances, they were perfectly matching with 0 adjustments. They perfectly matched what I was seeing on the back of the camera. Now, this is unlike any Canon I've ever had, because on my Canons, you have to tweak just a little bit that back viewfinder. A lot of photographers leave it on auto, and if you do that, you're messing up, because what you're seeing on the back of the camera is not what's coming into Photoshop. But what I'm noticing with the Fuji, what I'm seeing on the back of the camera and what I'm seeing when I look at the electronic viewfinder, when you hold it up to your eye like this, what I'm seeing is what I'm opening in Photoshop, and it matches perfectly. That, to me, is amazing. So that's just a few little, Kirk comments about this camera. The real test is going to come in a few days, few weeks, whenever I make a couple of little trips, because I'm going to try to primarily shoot, with this camera, scenery and artsy-fartsy type stuff, things of that nature, vacation, just trying to be a professional photographer, but producing really, really awesome images. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.